Okay, so let's try this and see what ChatGPT says. Act like a product manager and create a user persona for a fitness product. So this is pretty generic, but let's see what it says. Persona, marketing specialist, like fitness levels, goals. It also says participate in a half marathon as a goal for the user persona. I like how it actually lists everything and also summarizes the persona.
Yep.
And it's like doing multiple persona, right?
I like the names it's giving to newbie Noah, gym junkie Gina.
Yeah.
Actually, once it is done, ask this question, Sidhu. Like, how did you identify these personas? Let's see what it'll say. Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast, Everything Product. We talk about latest technologies with the product mindset. This is Funny Vuyuru. I'm a product manager at a startup.
This is Sid Saladi. I'm a product manager working for Best Buy.
Great. For anyone who is watching our podcast for the first time, we both are product managers and we love to talk about different product management concepts and the latest technologies and the products that come into the market. So if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And today we want to talk about the most important topic in the industry today, generative AI. There have been so many companies who came out in the last few weeks talking about their own products, releasing something amazing into the industry. Like it can help propel our work 10 times. So Sidhu, what are your thoughts on that?
We kind of did a podcast on AI, ChatGPT, and all the revolution and the future things like 1 month back, right? And we had like shortcomings of ChatGPT and all of that stuff. And now there are already products which kind of overcome all of those, and there are features which kind of overcome all the deficiencies it had before. So that's like such a rapid advancement, right? So the pace at which innovation is coming at on the AI side is like exponential now. So I think Nvidia's founder was calling it the iPhone moment of AI, where when Steve Jobs kind of announced the first iPhone with with a touchscreen. Now it's ChatGPT announcing conversational AI, and there's like bunch of companies that are jumping in to say, okay, this will be our strategic advantage, and we are going to incorporate generative AI into products. That's like crazy out there.
So I know Microsoft was like super enthusiastic in releasing their initial versions, I think, or just promoting it last week. So what are your thoughts on that?
That's one observation which I had. The second one is Microsoft has been working with OpenAI for a long time, I guess, right? It's not like this is something that came up like in the last 6 months. I guess they have been planning this launch for a couple of years now. So they might have already been talking and seeing how to integrate that and all of that stuff, and they now actually have already integrated that into Bing and also all their Office products. That's like amazing, right? And also, I think looking at enterprise organization and it innovating at this pace is also something that is unheard of, I'd say. Yeah, so crazy times here. So my first reactions when I looked at the Microsoft integrations with ChatGPT, I feel that the one which actually piqued my interest was as a product manager, right? You actually are part of a lot of different meetings, and sometimes you're overbooked. I think that's typical problem which a lot of people have, right? Where you have to be in the conversation, but sometimes time and all of that stuff, you're overbooked and all. So looks like Microsoft now actually has a feature in the new suite with generative AI where when you join a meeting in between, right, it actually gives you a summary of what happened till now. Or if you are like double booked for that meeting, it sends you notes, actions of what happened inside the meeting. I found that, oh man, that's like a crazy time saver for a lot of the things which I do. That was one which caught my eyes. The second one was sometimes, when there are conversations on Slack, people chime in and they're like threads and threads of conversations, a long thread of conversation that keeps going on, right? So I think they also now have a way to summarize everything in like 3 or 4 bullet points so that you understand the gist of it. So it's easier to catch up with whatever you have to get up to date on and all of that stuff. So I think these were the two big things which caught my mind when I looked at that keynote which Microsoft had. What about you, Funny?
Similar, honestly, but my biggest features are different. My first one that I loved was the slides. Like as product managers, right?
Oh,
We create a lot of slide decks. We present a lot of things, especially in a very concise manner to a lot of stakeholders. Takes a lot of time. So one of the features that I've seen in their presentation is like give it a document, it'll create a slide deck for you. That's like awesome. You don't have to worry about how the images would look like, slide deck would look like, or you don't have to worry about how simplified the content needs to be. It will give you a draft. You can start with the draft and then keep updating it. One more thing I loved basically is Excel. I think I'm one of the avid users of Excel, and I keep struggling to like find the right formulas, or sometimes it even gets complicated to like summarize the data. But if I can have an AI model that can basically look at the data, do a bunch of things for me, and at the end of the day, finalize and give me some summary of what it found from the data is like awesome.
yeah, that's crazy. So fundamentally, Funny, I think the Excel one also was my favorite, right? Where I think you do a lot of analysis, looking at data and all of that stuff, but having a copilot which helps you figure out the things which you want to do in a much easier way will, kind of make you more and more productive, I'd say. So that's like a killer feature which I know I would also want to use for. But also it's very interesting, Funny, that look at how people approach products now, right? Before it was, imagine you using Microsoft PowerPoint or Excel, right? You actually learn the tool and learn what are the different features of the tool, and then you basically go there to get something out of the tool, right? Then you do a series of steps to get to that solution which you want to do. So imagine I want to generate a graph looking at data, and from the graph I want to gather insights and then maybe find a problem area. That's what my end goal is. So now you actually use Excel, go in and try to use some features of how to edit a table, format the data, and then look at how to use a graph, and then do the analysis and then get to that point. But now the way people actually interact with generative AI is kind of, you are going and directly asking it to give you the end result, right? Like, okay, can you look at all the data and tell me what the problem areas are? And now the generative AI kind of does all the discovery work and all of that, like the data, figuring out the data, putting everything together, and then saying, okay, these are the problem areas which might be helpful for you to look at, right? So that's like crazy. That's actually changing the way people use products.
That is true.
If you're liking this video, smash that like button so that the YouTube algorithm will show it to more people who can benefit from this content.
One more observation, I don't know if you saw or not. Throughout the Microsoft presentation, they focused a lot on security as well. This is one of the things that I've been seeing in the industry, right? Like every tech company is being scrutinized a lot. And I've seen like a bunch of funny videos about TikTok as well, like how the government has been grilling TikTok in terms of like removing the company or like making their data secure for the US citizens and stuff, which I think I'm in support as well. I think if TikTok is not having the right principles, the government has to do that. So these guys putting that right focus and spending time on that, I think gives a lot of confidence on Microsoft, rather than them just telling that, hey, I just have a model and then you can just do whatever you want, and it might be giving bad responses, might be racist, might be doing bad things, etc. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's true. So I think that's also something which we have to watch out, right? Like I think that's the reason why Microsoft is kind of highlighting that, because I know that a lot of companies know that they can be productive using some generative AI. Like even GitHub Copilot is something which can help engineers be more productive than what they are, right? But companies or executives who want to put this in the hands of people, right, engineers, are afraid of their data going out, right? That could be something which could be a privacy thing. So I think that's why Microsoft like is kind of trying to promote that privacy thing even before they launch these products, and make sure that is something which people are not afraid to kind of come back and use these products, I'd say.
No, I love that thought, Sidhu. So when I was going through Microsoft's website, right, one thing that I saw there was um Copilot enterprise ready. That's a
Yep,
very bold statement to give. The
that's
reason
right.
I
Yeah.
would say that is, in order for an enterprise to come and use AI models, that's the biggest hesitation that they have. Hey, I'm giving probably a lot of data about my company. Is it secure? I think Microsoft coming upfront and telling that is awesome, because that removes a lot of friction that the person or a company has.
Yep, that's right.
If you have watched our video for so long, I hope you guys are enjoying all the topics that we are discussing. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Cool. Let's jump to the next topic, right? I've seen this over the weekend, Sidhu. Um, an image of Pope wearing a big puffer jacket has gone viral.
Yeah.
And I've also seen an image where I think Trump got arrested. And all of these are AI fakes. Like
Yeah.
someone sitting somewhere thought that this would be funny, created these images, and then shared it on the web. So, what do you think about this?
Yeah, man. So I think that's something which everybody has to be cautious about, right? So misinformation is already a big problem, right? Like COVID was, the time of COVID was the heights of misinformation spread, where people were spreading so many things about COVID, right, through WhatsApp and all. Once people receive this information, there's like nobody fact checking anything, right? They're like,
Mm.
okay, something has happened, and there's like a widespread alarm around the area which all of this information is spread through and all of that. So I think it's everybody has to take the merits and also demerits of something that is really revolutionary. And I think that's everything comes with its merits and demerits, right? So I think that's what we also see Elon and Steve Wozniak and all of them having starting a petition saying they have to stop training AI, with the data, and also these labs have to stop for the next 6 months till we define what is right, what is wrong, and have a set of regulation around AI and all of that stuff. But I
Yeah.
still feel that even if somebody does a petition and tries to stop something in the US, right? Still, there's like a lot of innovation that keeps going on different countries and all of that stuff. It's just leaving a specific country behind rather than catching, kind of trying to play the game and try to figure out what the boundaries are and all of that, I'd say.
Yeah, that's true, Sidhu. I mean, starting with the Pope and the Trump one, right? I was I was feeling very bad, honestly. The reason is, we might know that it's a fake right now because maybe a bunch of websites are posting that. But think of the same thing 5 years down the line. Unless and until you have proper regulations put in place, or proper best practices put in place when someone is generating some of these images, this would go widespread on web, and people won't even know whether they are seeing a real image or a fake. And especially someone who's not even close to that, they might very well think that that's a true thing. Same thing can happen at any place, right? So for example, let's say if someone's generating an image, let's say if there is a mandate to say, hey, there should always be a watermark for that image. So if someone is trying to understand this, they should be able to clearly say that it's a fake. So some of those regulations I think are needed. Otherwise, there is a lot of misinformation. And the funny part is, maybe the AI might learn from all of this fake down the line, and then the AI itself might be doing bad things because it is learning from the fake information.
Yeah, and also I'm assuming there'll be tools to figure out if it's AI or not, right? I already see tools that tell you if the text is AI generated or not, at least with some certainty. And I think there'll be similar things that will kind of try to detect deep fakes and all of that stuff, or at least the tools which are generating this should somehow encode uh, some information on images and things they generate to say it's AI generated, right? So that this could be more informative to other people, let's say.
Yep. Images
Yeah,
are still the starting point, I think, Sidhu, because
yeah,
if we go to videos sometime down the line, and if the videos look natural, that's going to be the worst part.
yeah, that's right. So there's like a company doing that already, right? So Runway actually does like a text to video. So I was like, kind of surprised to see the first gen of it, right, where you give it a prompt and it kind of generates a video. And now they're also planning to release the second gen, which, like, man, give it the prompt to do whatever it is and it can actually generate a video for it, saying, okay, you can ask it to kind of do a video, a movie altogether, right? Write a script and generate a video altogether. That's like crazy to even think of.
That is true. Cool. Sidhu, probably let's jump into this thing, right? I have been waiting for Google to release their own generative AI models. And I know you got the access for Google Bard recently. So, what are your thoughts on Google Bard, and do you think it's doing better than ChatGPT?
My first impression's funny, so I haven't like tested exclusively, on how it works and all of that stuff, but have tried putting in some prompts and see how it reacts. I think the first thing what I've observed is, I think we discussed this before, right? Like ChatGPT actually kind of shows what it's generating, right, as it's generating things, so you can kind of read through, right? So and you're not actually waiting for the whole prompt to appear in front of you after a certain time, right? But Bard does that. You actually type in a prompt and it takes a while. You're like, is it working or not? And then you see a text appear that is like fully constructed. So I think that's like a shortcoming which Bard has, where you're actually, maybe you might be waiting less time, but you're you're kind of feeling that you're waiting for the prompt to appear. But as ChatGPT, right, it kind of continuously generates it, so you're doing some work while it generates it, so you're not kind of feeling that you're waiting for that prompt to be done.
Makes sense. How do you
Yeah,
feel about the content itself?
I don't know. Funny, I know that Bard kind of failed in the keynote, right, in the demo where it was actually showing out wrong facts. But I think Google was criticized a lot for that. But even ChatGPT does the same. But I think they were good at doing the demo, but Google was bad at doing the demo, right? So they should have fact checked things before they have actually done something in the demo, and that failed. I feel there's not much difference, but at least on the text generation side. But I think it doesn't code right as of now. When you try ask it to code, it says it won't code. So I think there's not a capability for Bard to code. I think that's a shortcoming again. Yeah.
Got it. I was watching a video of MKBHD yesterday. I think he and his team were talking about Google Bard. They were they were thrashing it big time, because
Okay.
looks like they did some searches on Google Bard. And I'll give you an example. I think they searched to say, hey, What comes after January and February? Then Google Bard responded saying, Marchwari, Aprilwari, Maywari, Junewari, and Julaiwari,
Oh, really?
rather than telling the actual months. They're like,
Okay.
dude, after even you are already late into the market and you're also like giving a model that's actually giving such bad responses. So they were thrashing it big time.
Okay. So I think also there are some good things about it also, right? So for ChatGPT, it just gives you one variation, but actually Bard gives you three variations for the same prompt which you have given. So instead of you changing the prompt, you can look at three different variations. I thought that was a little interesting, right? Where you have more options to pick what is the best one. So I think like picking the positive out of the shortcomings which they have would be that, I'd say. Should we do a quick check and see how Bard performs versus ChatGPT 4?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Let me share my screen. Funny. So
Yeah, yeah. It's
okay,
just
so
starting to load.
I
Yep.
have Bard open, and this is how Bard looks like. And right, so it has activity, but I think you have to click on the activity to go see what the activity is. But ChatGPT, right? You once you do a prompt, you have all the activity right here. You can the
History
navigation is
right
much
there.
easier, I'd say. Yeah, and ChatGPT, this is how like three, four, and you have different options to pick from. So this is how
Okay.
the UI of both these conversational chatbots looks like. So should we try that or any of the prompts on product management? Like, what do you say?
I want to start with that funny thing, Sidhu.
Okay,
Let's see if
yeah,
Bard
yeah.
is really that bad.
Give me the
Just ask
prompt.
ChatGPT. Can you use the Model 4? Maybe I mean
Okay,
GPT 4,
okay,
maybe the latest one.
yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Try this. Let's say what comes after January and February, or say what are the other months after January and February. Anything works. Yeah.
So it's like okay, March. That's like
Okay.
extra information than what I've asked it for. Let's try bad. See, see, it actually takes time, right? For the oh, and it actually gave me the whole list, man. Maybe it's
Nice.
not as bad as we think it is.
Yep. Let's try
Okay,
one more
and
thing, Sidhu.
okay, sure, yeah,
Let's let's probably try something about product management.
okay, sure. So this is basically a prompt on uh, brainstorming. So we are saying that Meta's mission is this: what features can I build for Instagram, and brainstorm some ideas and prioritize the ideas. So that's the prompt. Let's see how both of these uh, uh, conversational AIs behave. Here are some ideas for the features that can be built for
It was
Instagram.
actually very fast.
Yeah, yeah. It's group stories. Okay, all users to collaborate and contribute to a single shared story. That's that's something new. Community hubs introduce a feature that allows you to create, discover, and join interest-based communities within Instagram. Communities, yeah, Instagram doesn't have that feature. Localized recommendations implement AI-driven recommendations that suggest local events, businesses, and creators. Okay, AR-based icebreakers integrate augmented reality features into Instagram's camera that enable users to engage with interactive icebreaker games with their followers. Yeah, that's also
Nice.
interesting. Community challenges, medium impact. Okay, introduce platform-wide challenges or contests that encourage users to collaborate and create content around specific. Yeah, localized hashtags, priority, and that's crazy. See, all of these, some of these features are something which Instagram creators need.
Yeah, and it directly gave low impact, medium impact, high impact. Do you think it picked up this from like some article somewhere, or do you think it actually created these features?
So it so ChatGPT has kind of read everything before 2021, right? So it must have looked at all the different features and how people react to these features and what people have reacted to saying, what Instagram should do, pain points and all of that stuff. I think then it kinds of creates a summary of what could actually be good in Instagram, and it's connected back to the Meta's mission, I'd say.
Got
I'm
it.
thinking it's doing
Yeah,
that, but
let's
yeah,
see.
let's
Let's see
see
what
what
Bard will do.
our Bard does. Now the waiting game. It's. I felt this was much quicker, right?
Oh, this is
So
fast.
this is, yeah, fast. It says improved search functionality. This would allow users to find
Boo.
content they're looking more easily. Okay, new ways to connect with others. Yeah, that is pretty generic, right?
Mm.
More ways to share content, more ways to discover content, more ways to support creators. Okay, the number of users who would be impacted by a feature that impacts.
It just gave basic definition to say
Basic
like
definition of
you
what is
can use these.
prioritization to
Yep.
prioritize it. Okay, I think
One more
in this,
observation here, Sidhu. So
yeah,
I think Google has taken a major hit, right? So if you see in the bottom, they're basically telling Bard may display inaccurate or offensive information that doesn't represent Google's views. So they're making sure Google is not impacted by whatever is happening here.
responsible for what it is actually doing.
Yep.
So I think, you can actually, I think that actually gives us the answer of which is the a better model here. But interesting to compare and contrast this.
Let's actually do one more product management one, Sidhu, if that's okay. I want to see how it goes.
Yeah. So what do you want to try?
Looks like you have some prompt, right? Show me some. Like I'll
Yeah.
I'll try to pick something.
Yeah. You want to do ideation, market research?
Let's do user persona.
User persona. Where is it? Okay. Yeah, got it.
And for anyone who's watching here, right? Sidhu has a newsletter, and I think this is one of his recent posts in his newsletter. So if you're interested about like latest product management concepts and different AI prompts and everything, so don't forget to subscribe to his newsletter.
Yeah, thanks for that, Funny. And this was specifically 50 product management prompts. So anybody wants that, I can put that into description. Okay, so let's try this and see, Funny, what ChatGPT says. Act like a product manager and create a user persona for a fitness product. So this is pretty generic, but let's see what it says. Persona, marketing specialist, like fitness levels, goals. It also says participate in a half marathon as a goal for the user persona. I like how it actually lists everything and also summarizes the persona.
Yep.
And it's like doing multiple persona, right?
I like the names it's giving to newbie Noah,
Yeah.
gym junkie Gina.
Yeah.
Actually, once it is done, ask this question, Sidhu. Like, how did you identify these personas? Let's see what it'll say.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually telling you what process it has used.
So basically, it took the market segments. It also used some research.
Analyze patterns and trends also. Common patterns and trends. And create a distinct user group. Okay. Develop a detailed persona. But that's a
It's
good
nice.
starting point, I would say, right? Yeah. Let's see how Bard does it.
Don't give that. Let's see what will happen. Okay. It's okay.
I,
It's okay. It's okay. I don't think it made a big difference there anyway.
so look at Bard, right? It also does the same. So like I think does two different persona. These are two examples, and here are some additional things to keep in mind. Be specific. Okay, it's also saying you to follow these things, and let's also
General
maybe ask the
principles.
same. Let's ask it how does it do it.
Yeah, this is
I
one of the
talked
big
to
things, right? Can the
look at this. I talk to people who use fitness products. It's actually kind of yeah, telling us that it did what we asked it to do.
what? How did it talk?
I think that's what generative AI does, right? So it actually fills in information. It has some information, and sometimes when it doesn't know information, it kind of tries to fill in the other pieces, like what humans do. I think
Got
that's
it.
the biggest shortcomings. That's how it actually makes mistakes and errors while generating some of this.
Got it. Actually, that gave me a very interesting thought, Sidhu. So a lot of people do a lot of these researchers and studies in the industry, right? These models can do it automatically on their own, so we don't even have to think about a bunch of this data. What is that? Survey monkeys or Statista or something like that, where you don't have to like go there, like get the reports. Generative AI can give a bunch of these details to you.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice. That was very interesting, Sidhu. Thank you for like sharing the screen and then like comparing all of these things and stuff. Um, I know there are a bunch of other things that happened, but another one that was very interesting for me was Microsoft Loop. Um, do you want to spend few minutes on that? Like the
yeah,
moment I
yeah.
heard it's Notion killer, it hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I'm a big time fan of Notion, and I still believe that Notion is a killer application. It kind of solves a lot of problems for me. But now Microsoft comes up with another app that kills Notion, right? Loop, similar to what it did with Slack, right? So it brings in Teams and adds it as a free product into the bundle, and people start using it, and now Teams has much more users than Slack, even though Slack's UI and UX is much intuitive and much easier to use, I'd say. So Loop, I would say, yeah, what they're trying to do is they're trying to integrate all the productivity apps into Loop. Looks like you can do tasks, you can assign tasks, you can have to-do lists, you can basically have tables in it, can have text to it, you can tag people, you can have spaces. It's almost like a mix of Confluence, to-do list, note-taking app, and all of this mixed together.
Yep. Actually, when I was looking at it briefly, what I felt like is, I don't know, I felt like they copied Notion a lot in terms of like how they give the user experience, how they make people feel about like creating a bunch of this data, icons, emojis, all of that. I felt like they copied a lot of these things. But again, I'm very skeptical about Loop winning the war over Notion. The reason I'm telling that is I feel like Notion, they are experts in terms of like building the productivity app rather than holistically thinking about so many other things. I feel like Microsoft does that a lot. They put their feet into several things, and unless and until it's giving real benefit to them, they don't really improve those features. OneNote is one such thing. I used to love that thing, but it never improved. I feel like this might have the same thing might happen to Loop as well.
Yeah, that's right. But I think Notion also has a very strong community around it, right? So there are like people who generate templates, and there's a marketplace for that and all of that, right? So I think all of that also wouldn't directly convert and come back to loop, right? So once you have such a strong community and also people contributing towards the ecosystem, that's not that easy to replicate through a new product. But the Slack is little different compared to Notion, I would say, in that case.
That is true. Cool. Great conversation, Sidhu. So let's end our conversation with these two things, right? If there are two big things that's running in your mind right now in terms of generative AI, what are those two?
Yeah, for me, I'm very excited to see what's coming next, because everything, there are like so many announcements that are coming out, and things are changing so rapidly. So I want to see what the future turns out to be, and that's one thing which I'm waiting for. And the second one is, I want to actually look at all the tasks which I do, and then see what AI tools can help me to reduce the time which I spend on these repetitive tasks which I do. I want to do like an audit on myself to see what tools can help me be more productive. So that's my second takeaway, which I want to do. Yeah.
My two takeaways. The first one is basically, I don't know, last 2 weeks made me feel a little bit scared. The reason is there could be a lot of information overload because of the AI. And I feel like a lot of people might be feeling that pressure right now, because it could be impacting companies' morale if AI is doing a bunch of those things, and what would be the future of their own companies. So this might be something that's going on in the industry. That's one of my takeaways right now, but hopefully that will reduce in the next few months to a year. My another big takeaway is, I think as product managers, I need to think about it as well, like what else can I do to improve myself, improve my skills in terms of like generative AI or in AI in general. So that's something that whoever is watching should probably focus on as well. Yeah. Cool. Awesome conversation, Sidhu. Thank you so much for your time, and let's catch up in the next one. And for anyone
Thank
who's
you.
watching this one, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.